Welcome back to Cap Air. So this is a continuation of my series. I'm going to start over here of a series where I run a airline in a career game using the Stormlink mod. Now this is going to be a little bit different. End of Line created the initial Stormlink mod, and End of Line is supposedly working on upgrading it since the Industrial Frontier DLC came out. The landmass changed on the Sawyer Islands. So with Stormlink, there are a bunch of these little bases, as you can see behind me. And so when the devs changed the landmass on the Sawyer Islands, a bunch of the buildings for Stormlink were no longer compatible because the landmass was different. And so End of Line stated about 6 months ago they were still working on upgrading Stormlink. I put the Cap Air on hiatus until that came out. It has been 6 months. Nothing has really happened or that I know has happened. And so we're actually going to be using a continuation of this. It's an unofficial continuation, and I'll show you who that's by. So here's the version we're going to be using. This is an unofficial Stormlink passenger mod. It is by Anau, and it is a continuation of End of Line's Stormlink. So if you look here, it says disclaimer: the original mod belongs to End of Line and located here. So you can go there and use that. One of the reasons why I'm using this one is when Industrial Frontier came out, we got a whole new continent, and there were no bases for Stormlink there. As you can see, there are a bunch of these terminals. End of Line built most of those, or, it was part of the original Stormlink add-on. And so there has been nothing done for the arid biome. So I really wanted some bases down here. I've yet to figure out how to do it myself. And so we're going to use Anaus because it has all the stuff for the arid biome. So again, most of the credit's going to go to End of Line for creating the original Stormlink, but it has been about 6 months. So let's go ahead and look at the official one. So here's the original Stormlink. I generally would use Stormlink Lite. What that is essentially the Stormlink mod without all of these bases. As you can see, this is the End of Line, created the original one. If we go down here to the comments here, and if we look at the last comment from End of Line, it is back right here, October 14th, 2022, and it says, note, update for Industrial Frontiers in progress may take a while as new stations need to be made. In meantime, Stormlink Lite still should work as it does not need the large stations, which are currently broken by the new track design. Stormlink Lite is fine, but it does not have any stations at the arid biome, which I really want to use. It's one of the reasons I put Cap Air on hiatus was, I thought it would come out a little bit quicker. It's certainly okay if End of Line decided they don't want to continue this. So that's why we're using the other one, is that already has the bases for the arid biome. And so this gives us a little bit more of a usable mod. So here are all the commands for it. So let's go ahead and start playing. All right, so if you're unfamiliar with Stormlink, as you can see, we get all these different stations. And what we can do is we can open and close them. It will tell you how to do it. So open station, you can open the station. So we started with some default open. I went ahead and we're going to start at Dremore here. It's kind of a rickety old airport. We're going to go ahead and start for operating here. I closed all the ones. For example, you have some that are train stations, bus stations. I only want to do the airports, Cap Air. Might do a couple land ones later, but at least to start with, we're doing the airport. So what I did was I went ahead and closed a bunch of the stations, and then I opened up the ones I want to use. Dremore, Harrison, O'Neill, Clark, FJ, and Ender. And so this will allow us to be able to fly from place to place. So if we go ahead and we look at Dremore, where we're sitting presently, it will tell you where the people need to go. So this is 10 to Ender for 320. And so we can take as many or as few of these people as we want. They're all going to Ender. And we can pick up people and we can kind of daisy chain them. So we're going to go down here to Ender. So there's 10. If we look down here, there's 5 for O'Neill. So for example, we can only carry 5. So let's say we pick up 5. And then we come down here, there's 5 for O'Neill. So we might as well pick up all 5 of those and then head to O'Neill. So we go up to O'Neill. And if we look at O'Neill, there's 5 for FJ, there's 5 for Ender. So we go back to Ender, we go to FJ if we wanted. And if we had a larger aircraft, one thing we could do is we could take both the 5 for FJ, the 5 for Ender, and we can make stops. So we're going to go ahead and let's get started. So I originally was going to use the Ant 2 as kind of my starting vehicle, but I decided that I would build an even smaller plane. All right, so if we go ahead and look, we are starting with 20,000. So I made this piston twin. As you can see, we have 18,900 is what this costs, and we have 20,000 to start. So this will leave us with 1,100 remaining. So that is going to get us just under. So this is going to be our starting craft. It is kind of the size of, say, a Piper Navajo. And we'll go ahead and jump in here. It has club seating, has 4 in here, and then we have the seat up front. This one is also a passenger seat. So they're all numbered for Stormlink. Let's go ahead and press 6. You see we get a message. Cannot find capacity data for the vehicle. So what we need to do is enter question mark P cap, and then we set our capacity. So the capacity is going to be 5 seats. As you can see, new capacity 5 seats. So then we'll look at the map, and as you can see for Draymore here, we have 10 to Ender. So what we're going to want to do is enter question. P load, that's for passenger load, and then we do Ender. And so since we set our passenger capacity at only 5, we're only going to be able to take 5 of the 10, so there'll still be 5 left over here for later. And it says my vehicle is full, 5 passengers not loaded. As you can see, we get 1 in every seat, so that's nice. All right, so we're ready to get going here. So let's go master power, avionics. Let's go ahead and we will turn the beacon on. That warns people that we're going to start the engine. We'll go ahead and start 1. All right, 1 is started. We'll go ahead and start 2. 2 is started. Let's go ahead and we will release the parking brake, which is on my seat. And I'll start putting, I'll put 1-notch flaps in. Ender is an uncontrolled field, so we'll go ahead and make a position call. Enter traffic. This is, if we look at my tail number, we have November 682 Charlie Alpha for Cap Air. And we're going to be Cap Air 1. Ender traffic, Cap Air 1 is taxiing to runway, I forget what the number is. I think it's runway 2 for takeoff. All right, so we just make position calls. We're going to go ahead and we'll click on strobes. Nav, and I have to get out of my seat for landing, which is not ideal, but I do have to do that. So as you can see, it's a pretty good, size aircraft to start with here. 5 seats is nothing to really sneeze at. If we look at the map here, we're getting a good 320 per, so that's around a little over 1,500 bucks for hauling all these people. So let's go ahead and taxi out. Ender traffic. Draymore traffic. This is Draymore. Draymore traffic. Cap Air 1 is taking off runway 2. We'll be departing the south. Ender traffic. Or Draymore traffic. Alright, here we go. And let's hit it. And rotate. Pause brake. Gears coming up. Flaps are coming up. And we can shut our landing light off. The rest are going to stay on. And we'll trim. And we'll start bringing our prop back. So it's a complex aircraft, so the propeller controls the RPM of the engine. And I'll bring our propeller all the way back. That's going to increase our efficiency. So we're just navigating VFR. I might put in my bearing panel. I have to find some space for it. It'd probably have to go somewhere like there. It could actually go in the wall here. So we're going to go VFR, so visual flight rules. So if we look, we can use our map. This is going to be the volcano there. So we want to head to the just to the southeast of that island there. We're going to go to the other archipelago, this set of islands here, and we'll level our wings. And we'll head this way. So as you can see, we're going to cut across this here, and Ender's right there. So pretty easy to navigate in game. The world is very small. A little bit of aileron trim there. All right, nice. So we're doing about 200 knots here. Temp's coming up, but we will be good. I've done a bunch of testing on this. Alright, we'll just bring the power back just a hair. Just to get the engine to stop smoking. About 182 knots, and we should get the engines to stop smoking here. There we go. Alright, nice. Alright, so I'll go ahead and I will time-lapse you guys out. Alright, so coming back here, if we look over here to the right, there's Ender. Ender Tower. This is Cap Air 1. We have the field in sight. Ender 1, you're clear to land. Runway, whatever. Clear to land, Ender 1. Alright, so prop is coming full forward. Power's coming back. Gear's coming down. Put in 1 notch flaps. So gear's in transit. And gear is down and locked. Landing checklist. Let's actually set our flaps all the way in before we do that. Landing checklist. Gear down. Flaps are set. Props are set. Lights are set. Landing checklist is complete. Alright, so landing checklist complete. And we're clear to land. So we're coming in here. Landing to the southern runway. I'll start getting, start trying to remember these numbers. I still need to fix my speed gauge. If you notice, I'm out of the white arc. Generally, you want your flaps up out of the white arc. I've just yet to set it. So this plane has pretty good slow speed handling. We can get down to like 70-ish knots, which is a little bit actually on the low side. For example, Piper Seminole, which I flew, which would be a little bit smaller than this. I had an approach speed, I think it was around 90 knots. So we're way high here. That's why I'm got my nose down so much, is I'm just trying to lose some altitude. There we go. Starting to settle in a little bit here. Start to trim. Add some power here. As I pick my nose up, I need to add power to overcome, you know, essentially the gravity. Gravity was helping me descend, and then I pick my nose up. I need to re-trim and add some power. Alright, landing gear's down 3 green. You want to check right before you land. Power, power. There we go. I need to decrease the throttle sensitivity, and this is way too sensitive. And we're going to land long here because I started to stall and added a little power. So, add a little power as I pick my nose up. There we go. And we'll just let it gently touch down. There we go. And we'll steer and start to bring the power off. Tapping the brakes, tapping the brakes, tapping the brakes. Cap Air 1, you can turn left and taxi the ramp. Turn left, taxi the ramp, Cap Air 1. Alright, so you see over there where the shack is, that is where we're going. That's where the people go. And our wheels are a little bit squealy. They're, kind of see how they're dragging. So I kind of have to power up a little bit more than I'd really have to get them moving. Alright, so here we are. Let's go ahead and we're going to set the parking brake. Shut down 1 and 2. We'll go ahead and shut off avionics. And master power. Alright, so now we can dump these people off. So let's go ahead and enter $P unload and ender. So this is where they're going. So 5 passengers disembarked. We got $1,600. So in the grand scheme of things, that's pretty good. You know, we started with 20 grand and we just picked up 16 grand. So our next is going to be 5 for O'Neill for $380 per person, which isn't bad. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next episode of Cap Air.